Hello, this is Avert, and I thought maybe it's fun to do show a quick demo of the project I've been working on. So this is a12n-server. This is a authentication server. It supports OAuth and some OpenID, and I've built it all around Hypermedia, specifically HAL. So each endpoint. So this is the homepage. This is what you log into when you're an admin. So each endpoint is actually an API endpoint. So we're getting this HTML version because I'm opening this URL with a browser. But if I open the same URL with, say, curl or another HTTP client, I would get a JSON version of this. You can see how the shape of that JSON if you press this other formats button. So here's the actual JSON in the bottom. So you can see all the link relationships. They are kind of like pulled out of here and kind of shown here. So these are all kind of like the root endpoints. So in the bottom, you can see this is the actual JSON you would get, and also the HAL link. So this is the exact same information again. So this is not a super interesting endpoint because it's just a home and it's just for discovering all the other services. And also you can see here that some of these endpoints only support posts. So in those cases, I specify that using JSON hints, which is that draft, and yeah, and also show it here. So let's go to an actual more API-like endpoint. So we have a user collection here. So this is a list of users. So this is a pretty big list right now. And so you can see all my test accounts, plus even more test accounts that I did for some security-related testing. This is huge. So all of these are links. So you can see these are all with the item relationship. So you can, so yeah, this is very much the same information. There's also a templated link here. Some templated links will automatically turn into forms. The reason this is not is because I couldn't easily, because this part of the template here is in the URL, and if it's just query parameters, it will render a form for you. So let's go to an endpoint for a specific user. So this is me. So I'm just gonna start with a JSON on the side because I think that's what everyone's familiar with. So again, this is the information you would get if you were opening this here endpoint with curl or a normal HTTP client. I'm folding in the links, so you can see all the different links. There's a self link. There's a link to my email address. A log. Also, it shows here that I'm using a different MIME type for the log. Described by, so that's the schema, and so on. One thing that's interesting is that there's this table. All those links are into this table, but certain things are treated special. So, for instance, the schema link actually goes to the top of the navigation bar here. If there's an edit URI link, so let's see, I think it's the edit URI. No, what was it? Edit form. It will show it as an edit button here. Let's see, what else? So yeah, this is me. So we can also go to auth factors. So this auth factors is like a new endpoint I've been working on. So this basically shows that I have a password and authentication code, the time-based authentication code using those authenticator apps. There's also templates here. Oh, it's empty. There's no actions here right now. So you see the links again. Let's take a look on another user. So this one. So this one also has auth factors, but it only has, it has no auth factors right now. It just exists as a user without password or a authentication device code. So here we do have one action. So this is the add TOTP action. So what this UI will do is that if there are actions, HAL form, so this is a HAL form. If there is a HAL form but has no fields, it will just render it as a singular action button. It's by design because sometimes it's nice to just have like button actions, and I wanted to kind of special case those. We can also take a look at a full form page. So this is every user has privileges. Let's take a look at, I'm actually going to go back to my user again for that because it has a bit more in it. So privileges is like a list of permissions. If I go to this page, you can see there's a form here. It's because of limitation of HAL form, it has to be string properties. And so there's a second form here too. So because these have fields, these aren't just single buttons, they are split up. So there's two templates in here. You can see those here. So this is again the exact same information. This is what you would get with curl. The reason the title of the edit button here and the color is based on the method, so it's consistent across the application. So this probably the second one is a patch, yeah, and the blue is post. In addition, I'm trying to guess what the title of the action should be based on the title of the form. So it has like very simple heuristics. If the word edit appears in this title, it will make the button title edit. So this is an example of a form, and this is how we use it. So also, as you mentioned, like if you want to edit a user, that would just be a put request on this endpoint. There's no form for that because these are complex properties, and so it's very hard to express that with HAL right now. Lastly, you can kind of see these comments here. The reason these appear is because this endpoint has a schema. So the schema is specified using described by, that's a JSON schema. And if we actually follow that schema, this will actually go to a public URL. We don't want that. So let's see. So if we go to the schemas endpoint, because schemas are also served from the API, you can see here's the different schemas that are in use right now. And this is the user schema. So again, this is all JSON schema. And each property has a description. So that description is actually pulled out of the schema, and that's used to enhance this stuff. So we can get some comments in the JSON example here. Of course, you wouldn't get those comments if you use curl, because we do send back real JSON. So I'm wondering, is that everything I want to show? I think so. So we saw some forms. So there's two types of forms. There's the HAL forms. There's also templated URLs. I do think I have one place where I use a templated URL because we have a privileges list. Yeah, so these are the types of privileges. Privilege is currently defined on the server. And you can also search by resource what privileges are defined at resource. And that is done using a templated URI. So you can see that, or templated link, sorry. You can see that here. These are all the members of this collection. And then we have this templated link. And because we use the query parameter here as part of the template, the form is already, this UI is smart enough to grab that and turn it into this action. And decide that query is the right label for the submit button. But yeah, that's just a GET request. And the reason it can do that is because this specific templated link can be expressed as an HTML form with method GET. And if that's possible, it will just do that for you. So I think that is the end of my short demo. I'll show the last thing. We also have server settings endpoint. So this is just a big JSON blob. It's not very pretty. But if there is an alternate link defined, and maybe that's not true. Let's see. No, okay. Not sure where this comes from then. But yeah, some endpoints will have alternative formats. So you have a CSV format for this. I have another example of that. So here, my authentication log here is by default CSV. This is how CSV is rendered, so we'll also kind of do that. And if CSV doesn't have a lot of links, but as you can see, there's still links here anyway. And the reason that is the case is because it also looks for the link header. So I tried as much as possible for this UI to be auto-generated using HAL and related standards. I'm pretty happy with this overall. I've been using this for other projects too, for customers. And what's nice is you get pretty cheap UIs, and also the API is also your admin interface. It's very easy to send a URL to any entity in your application to someone else, also non-developers, and just so you can take a look at, say, the properties and stuff. And so the HAL forms has been nice to get some very easy admin actions in here and some ways for just simple stuff. But yeah, all the more advanced stuff, it's not really usable. So if in the future I had a ton of time to kind of work on this, I would probably want to define a kind of type of form action that doesn't use a flat list of fields, but maybe uses something like JSON schema. So it can say, hey, you can submit a post request to this endpoint. Here's the shape, and then use that JSON schema to render a form. But yeah, I'm quite far from that. So I hope this was interesting. And yeah, have a good weekend.